Assessment Conference in Billings, another free one. Ammo for next month. Had 913 miles on the control unit. I had to replace the battery at 146,882 miles. It cost up $147 on the 11th. Installed a new set of rear safety lights. I've got twice the light, a lot brighter than what I had. And I had to repair the driver's door handle, and that will require a replacement. I haven't found out what that's going to cost yet. Now I'm done.
Okay, any questions or comments for Russ?
Yeah, I got one.
Oh, yeah.
I've had some altercations and police reports involved with me, and did you catch these 16-year-olds?
If I had caught them, I'd have reported them as being cited and prosecuted.
Question is, did you catch them?
No.
How do you know they're 16? How do you know they're
Suspect. Suspect.
I know, but why would you put non-factual information on?
I'm not putting out non-factual information, but I'm not going to explain to you why I've got them as suspects either.
Well, I mean, that's.
Okay, let me give everybody a refresher on the proper way to conduct a meeting and a conversation. You direct your question to the board, and I direct that question to Ralph. Ralph, you direct your answer to me.
Okay.
And that's how it's supposed to work. No back and forth bantering amongst people. It doesn't work that way. So your question is, how does Ralph know they're 16 years old? The answer was, there is a suspected that there's a couple of people that he knows that have been, somebody might have said something to give him cause to be suspecting that, but it doesn't mean he knows for sure they've done it. Doesn't mean that he's apprehended them or talked to him about it. So I think that answers the question. So.
Well, in a sense, yes.
Yeah.
In a sense, no. If you don't catch them, it could have been you. It could have been you.
Yeah, it could have been. Yeah.
So he suspects, but
yeah.
How, if you didn't catch him and you suspect that, then miscreant?
Well, you suspect people based on information, and you follow up on that by investigating, and it may lead to no. It may lead to no.
Explain to me that I ask you the question, you ask him the question.
Right. Well, I can also respond. I can also respond to you because you directed your question to me. I don't have to pass that on to Ralph if I don't want to.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not the.
Cool.
I think your question was made and answered. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Cool.
If you have a different question, you can ask another one. Okay. Yeah.
Isn't that against people's rights to suspect them if you don't have the proof? I mean, just because you don't like somebody and they get in trouble a little bit doesn't mean that they're the ones that do everything.
Well,
and they're the ones that's always on top of the list because you don't like them and you harass them and
no, that is
pick
not,
on them.
That is not the case at all.
You don't know that.
No, it is not the case.
I do know that.
I do
know it too.
I do know what
too.
you're suggesting, and that is not happening.
It is the truth.
So
you can deny it all you
another
want.
question.
I think to bring this up, by him to bring this up at each meeting, it's a very small community. It throws light right directly on people. They're juveniles.
Do you know who he's talking about?
Yeah.
I do not know who he's talking about.
So
he did not name
you don't get downtown much.
Well, he didn't name.
Downtown, you do know.
He didn't name anybody. He just said there's a couple of people that he's suspecting. That's
and
not.
Last time he said a couple of dropout juveniles.
Yeah, that's discriminating.
Okay, well, we will refer to Hope on that one because she's the attorney that will tell us that legal opinion. So we can't answer your question tonight apparently because we don't have that legal opinion. So anything else on that in that regard from anyone else? Okay. Anything else for Ralph then from the council or the public? Did we approve his report yet?
No, we haven't. I make a motion to approve Ralph's report along with his requisitions for ammo for the night.
We have a motion and a second to accept Ralph's report and his requisition for ammo. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Okay, next item is correspondence. We have a letter from the advocacy.com that we read last month, and Brenda responded. This letter was requested by you to send the above address with copies of any constituent correspondence to mayor and or town council received from January 16 through December 31st, 2016, stating you will pay cost for copies. The number of pages of copies is 32, which comes to $3.20. The cost of the manila envelope to mail them to you is 15 cents, and the cost of certified mail is $8.34. Excuse me, for a total of $11.69. If there is a letter that has been missed, please send name of person and date sent to the town. We're not aware of any missed letters or correspondence. Upon receiving payment, your copies will be made. And we have a response from the advocacy group. October 22nd, Town of Fromberg. We are in receipt of your letter dated October 18th, a copy of which is included. We also include a copy of our previous letter to you dated September 23/17 for clarification. Per your letter, we include a money order in the amount of $11.69, which was specified to cover all costs of the current letter copies we seek. Again, we have concrete knowledge of at least one additional letter from the requested time frame, as well as the mayor's written response. These were not included in said document packet. Our request was made pursuant to Section 9 of Article 2 of the Montana Constitution, the public right to know, provision, and all related statutes. Therefore, it is the sole responsibility of your office to provide all the documents we seek. It is unacceptable for your office to ask us to provide names or time frames. With regard to these missing documents, one of two scenarios occurred. 1, failure to disclose, or 2, clerical error. Either scenario provides further documentation. The town of Fromberg continues to delay and provide incomplete responses to our public right to know requests. Again, we also note there were no responses included in the document packet indicating the town of Fromberg had indeed replied to any such persons who had written to voice their concerns. Again, we are now requesting any and all such responses. Again, said request is made pursuant to Section 9 of Article 2 of the Montana Constitution, the public right to know, provision, and all related statutes. We also note that each monthly agenda for the town council meeting lists as one of the items correspondence. It seems that several of the 8 pieces of correspondence we received have never been read or discussed during the time allotted for correspondence. Therefore, how and when does the town of Fromberg address such items? There are the three paragraphs underlined above were not addressed in your letter to us dated October 18th, 2017. So, I asked Hope, all I can respond to that is I asked Hope about letters being read out loud during correspondence. It's not a requirement. There are times when maybe letters aren't read because they contain certain things that shouldn't be read because it may have there are letters we have received that have not been read out loud. They contain evidence of either an investigation or a possible investigation. That's all I can guess is maybe some of these letters. I don't know if you, but I also asked Hope the meaning of the public's right to know. You have the letters, so you have the right to know. You have the information. If you would like to bring them, we will read them all and present them to the council if they're appropriate. But it's not, the public records is something that is designed so that the public has access to information. And you stated in your letters that you have these letters that we haven't provided you or made copies of. So you're not being withheld. We just somehow or some reason we don't have the same list of letters. I don't know how to respond to it. Brenda, I think, looked and didn't find any more letters as far as I know.
I sent him everything we've got.
So if you happen to have an idea of who sent one, not because we need to know it, if it's something that, and if you have a letter, by the way, let's look at it in a reasonable, rational sense. If you have a letter that we didn't give you a copy of, you can certainly bring it to council meeting and present it, and we will put it into the record. My question is, if you happen to have any letter that is so paramount in its information that it really is going to create a situation that's going to turn everything around for you or whatever, then I certainly would bring that forward. But there's no letter to my knowledge of any correspondence with anyone that has information in it that would be, if for any reason, wouldn't be divulged because of any other reason other than it may contain evidence of a crime or evidence of an investigation. There are 2 or 3 I can think of off the top of my head. Those do not get presented to the public. They get turned over to Hope.
What are they like? What are they for?
Well, they're like if somebody sends us a letter and they have evidence of, they're claiming they have evidence, or they make a statement, or they show pictures of a crime, or something
That
that's
still
under,
isn't getting
something that's
solved or
under,
anything, though,
something
huh?
that's under investigation, that gets turned over.
But you said that all-
It comes
everything
out
is-
of my hand.
But you said everything's already been covered and everything is okay to you. that
I
you're
said,
all right
from
with
my
everything.
knowledge. I don't know what letters they're referring
I'm
to.
not talking about those letters,
So-
I'm talking about the ones that you were asked about.
Yeah, or they're either been answered, or solved,
Okay,
or
where do you keep
investigated,
these letters?
or,
You surely have a place
or
to
they're,
keep them.
they're still being worked on, so.
Don't you have a file or something in the office?
That's where Brenda puts them, is right in the
Mhm.
correspondence.
And I'm sure she does, but when she goes back to get them, somebody must have broke in and
Oh,
stole
no,
them.
are you making us, are you
I'm making a
making us
statement.
somebody suspect for
Yeah,
that?
not her, that's
Who
for
would
sure.
be suspect for
Gee,
that?
I wouldn't know, but I bet somebody else in this room would.
Okay,
Probably the
so,
same two.
so I don't know what to,
216
how to answer your question, I don't know what letters
I
you
say
need. Yeah, go
something?
ahead, yeah.
Any correspondence that comes into the town is put in a folder, and I've got a folder about this wide from the time I started of different correspondence letters. This is the letters I've been sending out. But if there's anything that involves the police department, I do not keep. That goes
Where does that go?
totally to Hope
It
or
goes to Hope.
to Ralph.
But they,
Hooper.
I
but that's
don't
what
have
I'm sure
access to that type
that
of.
sounds like that's what they're asking for, is all of the complaints that's been made
No,
that
they
haven't
have
been
those.
addressed.
They have those. They have all the letters they say they're missing. So you have all the complaints.
But if they
You
have,
you don't have all the complaints, because I received one not too long ago, and that's being worked on. That's being investigated and will be responded to from the party who asked me to respond to them.
How come we didn't get to hear it
You will
tonight?
get it when it's done. It's,
Yeah.
yeah, it's not been completed yet. And responses are not always in writing, and sometimes they're by phone, we don't keep records of
Or
phone calls.
emails too, right?
We don't do anything on email,
That's not true.
as far as
I know that for
police
a
work.
fact. I
As
know
far as
that
police
for a
work.
fact.
Okay, well, I don't do anything regarding police
Well, of
work on
course you don't.
emails, okay?
You
so,
don't, but
yeah.
your Situate does, and that is a proven
My-
fact. I have actually seen the
Okay.
paperwork.
Well,
And-
fine. What
but-
are you insinuating?
Well, I'm insinuating that one of you are lying.
Well, what do you mean by lying? What are we lying about?
You're just sitting here telling us that there is no such thing, and I
No,
know for a fact
no.
that an email was sent to the policeman,
Right.
which
Oh, I
that
know.
person got a citation
I
on
know
without
several
even
of
being, yeah.
I know of emails that have gone to the police
Right.
department, but what I said was investigation and things involving investigation are not transposed around on emails between,
Oh,
you don't
Maybe
do.
not investigations,
Right.
but complaints are,
Oh, there are complaints, sure.
yeah.
We've had complaints.
Yeah, so, I'm sure if we could
It's
get all of our
it's never
complaints
gonna-
by
it's
email,
not
then
gonna
nobody'd
end.
have to leave the office
You know,
with
the
it.
complaints that we've had are so trivial that we've had 2 closed sessions and nobody on this council took those complaints and found anything worth any merit to give
Well-
anybody discipline. I didn't decide that, the council decided that.
Oh, right.
So, yeah, I understand that there's never gonna be an end to the complaints about our police chief.
Well,
and I
there
kinda-
isn't, and his behavior
And I kinda
in
know,
public,
that's just gonna be the
when neighbors heard what he was
case.
screaming
You
at,
know, so.
he can't deny that,
You
and
know,
people just don't like him, sorry, he isn't a pleasant
Well,
person.
Yeah, he's not hired, I think one of our council people said you don't hire people to like you.
Yeah, but
or-
it makes a lot of difference with the people in town if they
Well,
respect you
it's
at
kinda too
least.
late for that, isn't it? Are you ever gonna like our police chief? I doubt it.
I would
don't
if he
think
would
Randy
treat-
ever will.
If he was to ever treat somebody like
So-
they were a human being, I think I would, and
Mayor,
not,
if I can,
Well, just a
Address-
second, just a second.
and where I'm talking to you, we don't
okay.
need to talk to him,
Go,
right?
go ahead, Randy's got another comment or question.
The homepage of the police officer training, standards and training, says their goal is to teach police officers to earn the trust and respect of their communities, and this has not happened.
Okay,
It doesn't
I
exist.
agree, that's very important. That's very important.
nobody
I'm
here
gonna
was
say, I'm gonna let Ralph respond to the overall general
Okay,
idea.
do I get to talk to him
I
then?
did, no, you don't get to talk to him directly, and he doesn't get to talk to you
Well, then he
directly.
shouldn't be listening to us.
He's going to, it's the way the meetings are conducted for order, that's all. And if you wanna read the Robert's Rules of Order, because you're claiming that, you know, you're asking me if we will follow those, that is the procedure.
I'd like to,
Okay.
I'd like to see your
Okay.
list of them.
Go ahead, Ralph, what is?
You know, this goes beyond ridiculous. Generally, when I'm talking to someone, I respond to them in kind.
No, don't want me.
And if they're not listening, yes, I will raise my voice, you bet. There's no question about it. I will raise my voice if they are not paying attention to what I am telling them or asking them. And that's just part of the job.
Oh,
And
yes, and
if
with
you
his
want
hand on his
kindler,
gun at the
if you
same
want, you know,
time.
He has
if
the
they want
floor.
kinder, gentler, then hire a Girl Scout. God dog it,
Okay.
it's just getting ridiculous.
All right, well, we're gonna get off the subject because I think we've hashed that over long enough.
I do too.
And I don't think anybody's gonna be satisfied by it.
No, probably not, because there's never been any changes made yet.
And the only thing I will say to the whole issue of the town as a whole is I've been reelected every time I've ever run for office. If the town didn't like me or my police chief or my clerk or my public works, they would vote me out. So I've done this for a long time, and I understand there's people, a certain group of people that don't like what's been going on. They have an opinion, and that's great. But I don't believe that it's the opinion of their overall town, or they wouldn't
That's
reelect
because
me.
they don't know what's going on, do
They
they?
wouldn't, oh, yeah, I'm sure they don't know what's going on, because I'm sure that everybody tells everybody what's going on, but.
Well, I get upset by little comments like that, but it's not a core group. I run a bar, I talk to a lot of people,
Okay, great,
and
good,
it's not just a core group here, it's
Okay.
the town,
all right.
and you don't seem to be aware of that.
Well,
Oh, yeah, I
you
don't
know,
go to your bar, do I?
I have people that have contacted me about things. I have people that tell me bad, you know, what they think is being done wrong and what they think they enjoy the town for, and, you know, whatever, okay? We're gonna move on though, because we don't have all night to discuss that problem. So thanks everybody for your questions, and thank you, Ralph, for your response. On to the next item is zoning for the school. As you can see in your packets here, the school wants to extend their bus barn. And surely you're part of the zoning committee, and I didn't, I don't think you got with Annette, because Annette's not here, but what is your thoughts on what you learned from the
Well, I
application?
went up last Thursday, I think it was, or Wednesday, and after I got the zoning thing, and went by the map that Julie had put on this, and as far as I can tell, all of the setbacks and everything have been met. I don't think that we have a problem with it, so I would say yes, let's approve it.
Anybody have questions on it?
That was good.
What do they park in there now? Just one bus?
I'm not even sure they can park any bus in
They
there.
don't get any, but the barn's too small for any buses.
Yeah. I think they
So
pull
they
one
want a
in
new bus barn.
when
To
they need to
repair
work
on
on
it,
it or
yeah, when
something.
they need to repair on it, but
Mhm.
otherwise, they don't.
And what they're looking for is to be able to move all their buses inside,
Inside, yeah.
Mhm.
covered up.
Yeah.
Actually, it just makes sense.
Well, I make a motion to accept the proposal for the new bus barn, approve the zoning, is it?
Yep.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the zoning application for the school to build their bus barn. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. I'm gonna give you this one, Brenda, because I just went ahead and signed it. Well, I went ahead and filled it out. You can just tell, excuse me, Tim, I'll just reach over and okay, Next item is, I think you might recall that last year, the domain name renewal for fromberg-mp.gov gave us notice that the price is gonna go up to $425 a year. And we were able to get it one more year for $125, which is what we have been paying. So it's on the agenda because the question is, do you wanna keep that domain name or just bag it and do something different? If you keep the name, then we can probably transfer, keep the emails that everybody's using now. We have clerk and Public Works, DPW, right, and FPD. If you decide to change that name or pay, or because you can get a domain name probably for $10 a year, but it's going to be a .com or .org or something. So I guess it just the reason I put it on there is just so we can decide whether we're going to renew it or not, because that's going to make the process of doing what we need to do, depending upon what you decide, to set up new emails for everybody or try to continue with the way it is.
Well, Brenda, how many emails did you get last year over?
We've got tons of emails. Every day you get tons of emails.
From the town or from people that...
People all around.
No,
But I think we should stay with the one we have because there's so many extremely important and pertinent persons that have our emails, right now. And to go change something, I think it'd really get everything messed up pretty bad. I really do.
You mean with our sewer plant and everything going in?
All of them have, all of my distributors and all of them.
Everybody,
All the
yeah.
distributors, all the vendors, all of the contractors, engineering,
DEQ, all
DEQ,
of them
everybody
email
has
me
that.
through.
Yeah.
DEQ and all them emails through. I mean, it's not that you couldn't change over, don't get me wrong, we can change over.
But it would probably still cost us.
well, yeah.
It's gonna be,
I think we'd lose a
The
lot.
emails cost you $15.95 a month to keep the email service running. The domain name is $425 a year. So
And we can get it for what, 125?
well, that was last year. When we renewed, within 30 days, they gave us one more year at $125, but that's expiring in the end of December. So it's going to be $425, and then the server would still be $15.95, and that can be changed, and it will have to be changed because they bill me on my credit card for that, and I'm not planning on doing that when I'm gone. So you can set that up with GoDaddy, or you can set it up with Network Solution. You could host that domain name anywhere and have email that would be the same. But if you don't do the same domain, then you're going to have to set up all new emails and everything. So it's up to you guys.
Okay, and can they bill the town directly instead of?
I don't know depending upon what service you use. I don't know whether they would do an automatic bank maybe withdrawal, an automatic ACH.
So that's $15 per server. I mean, she gets $15 a year, or just
No,
for
just
all.
per month for all the emails.
Yeah.
For all. Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
On mine, they do an automatic withdrawal.
Yeah. I don't know because I haven't looked at
We
that,
haven't
but
asked yet.
I think you can do it that way. That's probably what the town would have to do.
Are we equipped to do that right now?
I think it's just a matter of turning that account over to someone else and then having it set up
Okay.
with doing a form and all that. And we could get that to where we can do that now just to get it switched so there's not problems later on.
Okay.
The other alternative would be for the town to get a credit card or something like that. But we tried that once before, and
Well, that's not a good
I
idea.
don't like those either.
it got hacked right away. So
Yeah, that's
So
not a good idea.
there was somebody trying to put charges on it for Uber in Dubai, an Uber charge in Dubai.
Can I say
Yeah.
something else?
Yeah.
That's another thing that's going on, is there's a lot of scam stuff going on our computers. Because just very recently, we've been getting requests that's stating, like he's talking, that they're calling on the phone on a scam call. We're getting that kind of stuff on our clerk's email, and the clerks are getting really scared. So we have to be very, very cautious with what we're doing.
Right. Okay, never mind, I'll have to.
Yeah, so just to give you an
Phrase
idea,
it, I'll ask you
yeah,
later.
just to give you an idea on that regard, the companies are sending their employees like these emails that are set up to see if their employees are savvy about not clicking on stuff. And
Right.
when they start out doing it, 65-70% of their employees click on an email that they shouldn't be clicking on, and that one click can set a virus going. So then they give them training, and then so we've been fortunate to not have our computers hacked or any scams going on for quite some time, but you always have to be watchful of that.
Oh, I know, I delete about 200 emails every day practically.
So I think that's something we need to decide to now, so that we have time to get it switched over and keep it working, or change it, whatever you guys think.
Well, I'll make a motion that we stick with this for the time being and see where it goes, because I think we need to keep everything in context as far as emails and things like that. It's a pain in the rear to try to get everything changed over.
I second it.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second, and I think to keep fromberg-mt.gov was the motion, right? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Yeah, I don't know, I thought it was a ridiculous price increase, but I think they hadn't done it for, many, many years. It'd been $125, and it's a little more secure name, is why it's more expensive, and it's managed by .gov, so.
That's what I was gonna ask you, is it through
Yeah,
government?
right. And you have to be a government entity to have
To
it,
use it, yeah.
so. All right, I'll go on to the next thing is the resolution on the sale of the barley field. I'm just gonna read this resolution, then we can go from there. But I wanna be sure we have discussion, before there's any motions, so I don't want any quick motions or anything, if that's okay. Resolution's 474, resolution to sell the property commonly known as the barley field. Whereas the town of Fromberg, by a vote of council at a regular town council meeting, did vote to sell the property commonly known as the barley field, and whereas the town has solicited and received bids from the general public, and whereas the Montana Code annotated 7-8-4201 states in part, 2, the city or town council may sell, dispose of, donate, or lease any property belonging to the city or town. Now therefore be it resolved by the town of Fromberg, Montana, to proceed to effect the sale of the following property legally described as South 20, Township 5 South, Range 23 East, Tract 1A of the Certificate of Survey 288 AM, and to accept the bid of $52,257 submitted by Wayne F. Vargas of Fromberg, Montana, and to authorize the mayor to enter into a buy-sell agreement to effect the completion of the sale. Passed and approved by the Fromberg Town Council and approved by the mayor on this 6th day of November 2017. So, a couple of things that would be required on this buyer's part in this buy-sell, which hasn't been discussed or negotiated anything different than what they have, would be the easement for the ball field would have to be agreed upon, that they would provide an easement for the ball field. We would transfer all but a couple of shares of the ditch right. We have to get more detail on that, because I don't really know even how many shares the town has on that property or the ball field. A lot of this stuff I figured, well, if we don't end up deciding to sell it, there's not any point in doing all the work to find out this stuff. But some of the requirements would be they're volunteering to make a commercial community garden for a couple of years, see how people respond to that. No guarantees after that, but if it's well received, I'm assuming you're thinking you might continue that. So there wouldn't be any negotiating of the price. I wouldn't change the price. I would require that they agreed to do an easement and split a couple of shares off for the ball field. And it has been surveyed, and I agreed that we would go out and locate the stakes So maybe we'll get warmer weather and won't be so miserable doing that. Pretty straightforward and simple if we follow those deals there. So any other comments or questions on it, or?
Will you have any stipulations on the use of the land?
Nope, not anticipating any.
Well, I've already voiced my concerns about the sale of this property. I think the town should